Good evening, Archive. Good evening, warriors. I want to thank you for coming out on a Saturday night because you love your country. I had hoped before I came on that I could show you a small piece of video. Can you cue that up for me, JB? Cue it up. I want him to see it. And turn down the lights. Let him really see it. The guys in yellow are cops.
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Oh, shut your mouth. Shit, fucking prick.
This is London.
That's right, guys. Allahu Akbar! That's right.
You know the way.
Look at the children! Just follow the police. Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!
Okay. Actually, the other video that I had was a better version. It's not the point. The point is, what you see here is hundreds, sometimes thousands, in the streets of London, in Paris, Denmark, Malmo, Sweden. And you see they're chasing down the cops. The original video that I had really showed you kicking the cops, and yelling Kafir and Allah Akbar. And I will tell you that Europe is finished. And I will tell you why you have to care about this. Because we need Europe. Because there's global conspiracy and there's global fact. And a conspiracy theory is one thing, and the global jihad is a fact. And I tell you that it is the threat that faces not just us, but the West. In France, they're burning 10,000 cars a night last year, out of control. And they approach each country differently. You could never get away with that in America. You could never burn 10,000 cars. Americans love their cars. But in America, there's a thing called the stealth jihad. And the jihad is attacking every institution in this country. Academic, social, workplace. They mosque the workplace. And you say, what do you mean mosque the workplace? They demand prayer times. And in major companies like Swift, JBS Swift, where the State Department has imported whole Muslim communities from Somalia, they've insisted on prayer times. Now, you haven't read about this, but it's very consequential because the union caved. Now, what happened was they never expected the non-believers, the non-Muslims, to rebel. But of course they rebelled. A lot of the workers were Hispanic workers, and they didn't want to elongate their day. They didn't want to work to accommodate prayer 5 times a day. So there was violence. Oh, yeah. It was very ugly in Greeley. Have you heard about it? Oh. But most people haven't heard about it. And while there were so many things I wanted to talk to you about tonight, because it's not just Islam, it's the left, and it's the leftist Islamic alliance, this unholy alliance that threatens the very core of this country, the basic fundamental values of this country. But something's happening in Texas. And you could say, oh, it's providential. No, it's just that jihad is happening everywhere. And I think what's happening in Texas is so It boils everything down to its essential oils. The quintessential stealth jihadist. Here you have a Muslim, born, raised in this country, Palestinian parents, goes to medical school, your taxpayer dollars at work, you paid for it, joins the army, joined the army right out of school. So all this nonsense about, he didn't want to go to Iraq, he could have resigned his commission years ago. I know he has to pay back for the, when you go through medical school visa the armed forces, but was past that. He mows down scores of U.S. soldiers, and we are witnessing in the media a complete abdication of logic and reason. It's insanity. And worse is that we have to sit and listen to his relatives. His Palestinian relatives tell us how he loves America. Now, where is Kim Munley's family? And why isn't she wall-to-wall wallpaper? The little girl that took down the jihadist. Now, that's rich. Yeah, Kim. Oh, yeah. That was justice. Yeah, that's my kind of girl, too. I'm hoping to raise 4 of those girls. So twisted in knots. So twisted in knots is the media going. I mean, when I was leaving the hotel, I was watching 2 airheads on Fox, the conservative news station. Listen, the bottom line is CNN and MSNBC and all those leftist propaganda organizations are pure left. They're hard leftists. So Fox looks conservative only because they do give you the right. They will give you the right side, but they're hardly conservative. I mean, we need a conservative news media, but that for another day. 2 airheads are arguing with this leading psychiatrist, and they're saying, check this out, because they've ruled out post-traumatic stress syndrome because he never saw combat. Hello? So wait, this is rich. He said, they said, well, we think it's vicarious post-traumatic stress syndrome. So the psychiatrist, the big psychiatrist, yeah. So the big psychiatrist goes, there's no such thing. They said, no, are they, you want to do this one? JB, you failing me. So the psychiatrist says, no, that's not possible. They said, well, think about this for a second. He had to listen to stories from soldiers coming home. So maybe he absorbed it. So the guy said, listen, I've had hundreds and hundreds of cases and evaluations. I've never seen that. But what I'm trying to say is that here's a guy who was proselytizing to his patients. The patients that supposedly gave him this vicarious post-traumatic stress syndrome, he's proselytizing. As a matter of fact, he had to give a presentation to a bunch of doctors. And he's railing against the U.S. troops and how the Muslims should take revenge. And the doctors afterwards met in the hallway and said, this guy's going to kill somebody. But nothing was done. He was on their radar screen for a long time, and nothing was done because they are sacrificing America. They are sacrificing Americans on the altar of political correctness.